Hello, and welcome to Social Growth for Circular Fashion, SOGFASH, where we develop a capacity building program for women in the fashion industry to help them acquire the needed skills in circular fashion processes and traditional techniques. In this section of Circular Fashion Partnership Collaboration, you will learn the definition of partnership, what is meant by promoting and showcasing, stakeholder mapping in the fashion industry, major stakeholders in the fashion industry, and partnership agreement. Let's start by knowing what partnership definition is. The UN system defines partnerships for the SDGs as follows. Partnerships for sustainable development are multi-stakeholder initiatives voluntarily undertaken by governments, intergovernmental organizations, major groups, and other stakeholders, whose efforts are contributing to the implementation of intergovernmentally agreed development goals and commitments. According to Wikipedia, collaborative partnerships are agreements and actions made by consenting organizations to share resources to accomplish a mutual goal. Collaborative partnerships rely on participation by at least two parties who agree to share resources, such as finances, knowledge, and people. Organizations in a collaborative partnership share common goals. The essence of a collaborative partnership is for all parties to mutually benefit from working together. What is partnership in the context of SDGs? Our world has limited resources, whether financial, natural, or human, and as a society, it's our responsibility to use limited resources in an efficient way. The fundamental core of good partnerships is to use their ability and diverse resources in ways that can together achieve more impact, greater sustainability, and increased value to all. Sustainable Development Goal 17. Partnership for Goal. It strengthens the means of implementation and revitalizes the global partnership for sustainable development in 2030. Multi-stakeholder partnerships are recognized as important vehicles for mobilizing and sharing knowledge, expertise, technology, and financial resources to enhance global partnerships and support the achievement of sustainable development goals in all countries. Through good partnership collaboration, partnerships and partners are able to focus their energies and expertise and optimize the way they work to ensure they deliver the greatest value, also agreeing not to work together in areas where maximum output is not being created. What is meant by promoting and showcasing? Promotion, it is an attempt to make a product or event successful, especially by advertising. In marketing, promotion means any type of marketing communication that is used to inform people's target audience about the benefit of a product, event, project, or brand. It's a way of providing information to the audience about upcoming products, informing them about relevant advantages and services to involve them with a product or services. Showcasing, this could mean exhibiting, showing, or presenting something in an attractive way to draw the attention of people. It's an act of displaying things or items to beautify their features to the audience. Promoting and showcasing in the context of circular fashion could be addressed. To increase circularity is to keep our clothing in use and out of landfills for as long as feasible. By recycling used clothing to create new fibers or materials that can be used to create new items, whether they are upgraded to become new clothing or downgraded to another textile-based item. To accomplish genuine fiber-to-fiber recycling, the industry must overcome various obstacles. Numerous technologies are now being researched, but to scale them up, large-scale infrastructure and fiber sorting skills are required. Let's take a look at stakeholder mapping in fashion industry. Stakeholders. A stakeholder is a group of people that has a similar interest in a company and can either affect or be affected by the business. The primary stakeholders of any typical business are investors, employees, customers, and suppliers. Who are the major stakeholders in fashion industry? They are 1. Fashion designers. Designing clothes is a key function of the fashion industry. Fashion designers are the biggest minds behind those great decisions of clothing. They create designs based on various themes, seasons, festivals, and colors. They explore art and colors and make the best output from fabric. Designers' clothes have huge demand in the market, and the best design can represent a brand or fashion retailer as well as a designer. 2. Suppliers. Supply is the key to running any industry, and the supply chain is an integral part of an industry. It is the same for the fashion industry. All the materials required for producing a cloth are supplied by different suppliers. It works like a chain. If one breaks, the production may hamper. The design of the garment is not enough to make a product. There are many other things that go into making it. Some suppliers supply fabric, dye products, some equipment, machinery, etc. 3. Pressure groups. Pressure groups are also important stakeholders in the fashion industry. Pressure groups are groups of people, associations, or bodies who can influence public policy work for the public interest. In recent times, environmental and social issues have gained importance among consumers. This has resulted in the rise of many pressure groups. These groups try to influence fashion companies to be more sustainable and responsible. Pressure groups may exist in different forms and shapes. Some are very vocal, and others are more discreet but influence businesses behind the scenes. Some of the famous pressure groups in the fashion industry are Greenpeace, Clean Clothes Campaign, Rainforest Action Network, WWF, and Oxfam. 4. Retailers. The retailers sell fashion items, products to the customers. They determine and figure out what customers will like or are interested in. They also need to decide what to do with the unsold garments after the sale season is over. Without them, the fashion industry cannot function at all. The top fashion retailers in the world are Zara, H&M, Uniqlo, Gap, Limited Brands, and Calvin Klein. Besides the selling product, they have to also consider the social, economic, and environmental impact they are making. 5. Customers are the most important stakeholders in the fashion industry. The fashion industry is running because the customer wants to have their clothes made. They decide which garments to buy from the retailers. They actually create the demand for garments, and they buy garments for different reasons and for different occasions. For example, they buy warm clothes for winter and cool clothes for summer. 6. Employees. At different levels, there are different employees working in the fashion industry. From designing the clothes to fixing the buttons and putting tags. The employees work at all levels in the fashion business. They work in design, retail, marketing, and other departments. They have a wide range of skills and knowledge. Without them, retailers and suppliers cannot deliver what they have promised. 7. Community groups are small and big communities of people who can influence the fashion industry by influencing people, fashion trends, or raising awareness. Nowadays, sustainability in fashion has grown interesting in many young minds. There are many communities who talk about fashion, both positive and negative aspects, and talk about labor rights and the environmental impact of the fashion industry. Some examples are Clean Clothes Campaign, Fashion Revolution, Fashion for Good, etc. 8. Government plays an important role in the fashion industry. In every country, they have some national and international laws for protecting rights and environments. The textile industry is a source of major income for many countries. The government sets laws, policies, and regulations for different aspects of the industry. They decide what can be done and what cannot be done. However, it is worth mentioning that in a mixed economy, the government does not interfere much with the industry. 9. The fashion magazine plays a crucial role in the fashion industry. What a fashion magazine does is highlight major fashion trends, celebrity styles, and fashion choices, and they can influence many minds and fashion enthusiasts who want to follow the trend. Fashion magazines also attract people by providing different styles, looks, and fashions of the current world. 10. Fashion models are vital contributors to the fashion industry. They represent the brand. They do not only wear clothes, they are skilled in flaunting their attractiveness in a way that appeals to target customers. Models are as important to the fashion industry as long as marketing plays a crucial role in any business development. There are modeling agencies that give their clients suitable models. These models receive clothes from the brand and work with stylists and photographers to create pictures for advertisements, promotions, and campaigns. 11. Photographers are those who specialize in fashion photography. Their prowess is shown in how fashion items are represented in campaign materials. They work in studios or any desired location for the kind of shoot they want to have. Branding is the heart of fashion photography, which is why fashion photographers would consider clothing items, models, props, and concepts in order to get the perfect shot and brand identification. Stakeholder engagement. The stakeholder engagement process could include these 6 steps. 1. Identify stakeholders to understand their relevance to our objectives and material issue. 2. Prioritize your most important stakeholders. 3. Analyze each stakeholder and consider their perspective to determine the appropriate level of engagement. 4. Maintain an active dialogue with our most relevant stakeholders to understand their views. 5. Include your stakeholders in the implementation process of new strategies and programs. 6. Incorporate their feedback where appropriate to help us continually improve our strategy. A fashion company has to deal with a number of stakeholders as they directly impact the business. To ensure effective collaboration and transparency between stakeholders, mapping out an engagement process is important. Identifying common interests among all stakeholders. This provides the process of mapping common interests among partners such as fashion designers and customers, photography and fashion models, fashion designer and photographer, fabric makers and fashion designers. There are many kinds of projects and activities in the fashion industry and garment factories. Depending on the type and size of the organization, there are several departments. The picture depicts the possible types of sections or departments in a garment factory. The several divisions of clothing factory could be divided into several sections or units. The organization of departments is based on the range of tasks that will be carried out by a group of workers. If we examine how each department in a garment unit does its varied tasks, for example, the process of making clothes begins with the creation of samples and ends with the delivery of the finished products to the customers. However, understanding that each part shares common interests is important for the company to grow and succeed. Typical common interests between stakeholders. The stakeholders and their shared interest is explained as shown. What are the activities to be carried out by identified common interest? The fashion industry is fast evolving with innovation and creativity. Therefore, it is expected that stakeholders communicate regularly to stay abreast of trends in the fashion industry. Communication and collaboration are important activities that must be implemented to avoid misunderstandings and set everyone on track with deliverables. Some activities of some stakeholders are as follows. 1. Fashion designers. Collaboration with other craftspeople in the industry like embroiderers, seamstresses, and tailors. They promote their clothes to not only retailers but also the media. 2. Suppliers. They are solely responsible for the logistics part of the fashion industry. They make sure fabric and other collections are available to other arms from design to production, packaging, and distribution. 3. Retailers/online stores. They buy clothes and sell them to customers. Traditionally, clothes are sold in bricks and mortar. However, with the advent of social media to promote business, especially since the COVID period, fashion businesses can use a website or e-commerce platform like Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, etc. to promote and sell their products. One of the advantages for consumers to buy fashion items online is seeing new brands. They get to browse through a host of varieties. There is also the ability to personalize, customize, and see an increased range of items beyond just the narrow range sold in stores with limited space. It also allows brands to sell directly to consumers and for smaller brands to compete. Fashion sold over the internet has even begun to evolve into digital fashion sold in digital fashion stores. 4. Design houses/brands. They visualize an idea and use computer-aided material or traditional methods like drawing to show mood boards to clients. They guide all steps of the design process, create varieties based on the theme, and stay up to date with trends in the industry. At the end of the day, they are supposed to create appealing and distinctive fashion designs that meet the satisfaction of customers. 5. Model agencies. Supply of models that support diversity and inclusion. hairstylists, stylists, photographers, and other non-fashion businesses that all make up a larger fashion ecosystem. In general, they work with fashion designers to be responsible for the whole fashion marketing process. How to interact with one another for messaging and approaches to the channels of communication. Understanding is paramount. The involvement of stakeholders and proper communication of expectations will go a long way in risk mitigation. For instance, how stakeholders communicate with product suppliers is quite different from how you interact with your community members. It's understandable that there has to be a reasonable level of synchronization. However, the approach to interaction with these stakeholders is different. While social media engagement does not require a higher level of stakeholder involvement, however, fashion companies must understand that social impact greatly influences brand representation and sales. Message. Messages should reflect the tone of the brand, and all brand properties should carry the brand signatures like logo, color, style, etc. Effective communication leaves a lasting impression on the parties involved. It establishes the brand values and sets the tone for the business. Channels of communication. This includes 1. Direct communication, 2. Emails, 3. Calls, 4. Online platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. 5. Word-of-mouth marketing, 6. Referral marketing, 7. Networking event. Let's dive into the last section, which is partnership agreements. The fashion industry partnership agreements should put into account things like working conditions, hiring practices, forced labor, salaries, and benefits. A strong workplace code of conduct that all parties will voluntarily adopt and require their contractors to adopt, which include 1. The prohibition of employing any persons under the age of 15, unless permitted by the country of manufacture to be 14. 2. Laws against any worker abuse or harassment and discrimination. 3. The recognition and respect for workers' rights of freedom of association and collective bargaining. 4. The requirement that employers pay at least the minimum or prevailing industry wage, whichever is higher, and provide mandated benefits. 5. The requirement that workers be provided with a safe and healthy working environment. 6. A cap on mandatory overtime to 12 hours per week and the regular workweek of the country, or 48 hours, whichever is less, and requiring a day off in every 7-day period. And 7. The requirement that overtime be compensated for at the premium rate required in the country or at least equal to their regular hourly compensation. Independent external monitors who will conduct independent reviews of participating company policies and practices. Provide company employees and contractors' employees with secure communication channels to report concerns of non-compliance, audit production records and practices to ensure compliance, conduct employee interviews and site visits, and verify that the company is in compliance with its obligations and commitments under the Code of Conduct. An internal monitoring system that outlines the obligations each company will undertake to ensure that the Code of Conduct is enforced in its facilities and its contractors' facilities both domestically and internationally. A commitment to form an association over the next 6 months that will 1. Recruit new member companies which also will abide by the code and implement independent monitoring. 2. Develop a reliable, independent means to provide for public confidence that the above obligations are being met. And 3. Develop a mechanism or seal of approval informing consumers about which companies abide by the code and monitoring. The collaboration canvas shown shall be discussed during the workshop. It shall serve as a tool to test and validate partnerships collaboration for promoting and showcasing opportunities in the sustainable fashion industry.